In this video, I'm going to show you how a student would access your repository, do some work and hand it in. So I'm going to sign in as a test user that I've created for this called SVC Student. And we'll just pop the password in. So if we go to the student's home page, down here we've got the SVC Sandbox organisation where I've previously created this repository, fixing errors. Now, here we can see I've got some instructions, right, okay, I've got this thing called die, so I'm going to open it, blah blah blah. Okay, so this is what the student sees. No, it's not particularly sort of fancy or well written or colourful, but it kind of does the job. What the student can then do is they can say, right, well, okay, I'm going to take this, I'm going to fork it. Now, students giggle at that quite a lot, but we're going to fork this repository and create our own copy. So that can ask me where I want to fork it to. I'm going to go to student. That's going to copy it, and then a few moments later I will have this, and this one is in my repository area, not SVC Sandboxes. So now this I can edit, I can change, and I can manipulate. So I'm going to go into my dice py, and now what I need to do is I need to edit this code somehow. Now I can do this a number of ways. If I'm a really confident user and I can see exactly what I've got to do, I could just edit and manipulate this code. If I actually want to run it, I could copy the code, paste it into a Python window, edit the code, make it work, save it, and then copy and paste the code up onto GitHub again to hand it in. Now I'm going to go with the former option, so I'm going to fix a couple of things here. So I'm going to spot that I've got a missing bracket here, and we'll just fix a few little syntax errors here. So we're missing a capital P, and import is spelt incorrectly. We should have a comma here. Okay, and we're sort of just going through. I'm not going to try and fix all the errors, but I'm going to fix a few of them. So role needs to be called like that. What else have we got that's wrong? We've got a capital S1. Okay, so I'm not going to fix everything. This is a basic response from a student. They're going to commit the changes. Now I would always get them to write a comment. I'm not very good at doing this myself, but I'd always get them just to say updated on today's the 1st of July 2014, and that will become apparent a little bit later on as to why that's important. So I'm going to commit the changes. There we go, and there we go, we've got those changes have been committed. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go and see that from the student, no, sorry, from the teacher side of things. So I'm going to sign out of here. I'm going to sign in as me. And then I'm going to go into that repository. Here you can see I've got loads of pull requests or homeworks waiting for me. And I'm going to go into SVC Sandbox. I'm going to have a look at my repository. Now at the moment, right, okay, I've actually had nothing's happened. Nothing's happened at all. And the reason for that is that all the student has done so far is they have committed their work. I'll pretend this was a deliberate mistake. I forgot to actually do something else, so let's just sign back in as that student. So we're going to say SVC student, and we're going to just not read the password out. Okay. I'm going to go back into now in the student my one and only repository, and there's one step I didn't do. All I've done is I've edited my bit of code. Now when working with other coders, I might want to say, hey, I've updated this piece of code and here's how it should look. And I'm going to issue a pull request, and a pull request asks the owner of the original code to pull my changes into their code. So I'm going to do a new pull request. Here I can see this summarises the differences that I've produced. So I've adapted this line, this line, this line, and this line. I'm going to create a pull request. There's already a comment in there as well, and the student could say, "Sir, this is me handing in my homework." I can have several commits to a pull request. A pull request is basically saying everything that is different between the original and my version, let's compare them and hand them in. I'm going to create a pull request. So now SVC student commented, here's the pull request, and then I'm going to sign now in as the teacher. And again, I'm not reading the password. There we go. And so now if I go into SVC Sandbox, click on this repository, and now over here I've actually got a pull request. So I can click on pull requests, and I can see that I have got in this list here, I can see all the pull requests that have been issued. So if I want to quickly get a visual idea of who has handed their homework in, I can see in a list here. SVC student has issued a pull request. So I'm going to click on their code. And here they've said, right, okay, they have done an update on the 1st of July. Okay, so that date's really important. If they've done several updates, the dates will help sort of distinguish which is the latest version. And here I can see their updated code. So I'm going to click on that. And here I can see the code they've produced. And I'm going to click down here and I'm going to leave a comment. Now this bit took me a little while to figure out, so I've pre-written a comment here. So I sort of keep this in a notepad document that I open up occasionally. So what I've done is I tend to give feedback in the following form. So I just give them some successes and some targets. So I try and keep it quite simple. But what I've done is these headings at the top here, if I preview those, what I've tried to do is I've just tried to add a little bit to it. I've used these little sort of emoticons type things, and they are accessed by using the colon symbol, writing the name of the emoticon thing or image, and then putting a colon at the end. Now there's loads of those, a whole full list of those you can find on GitHub. I'll put a link in the video as I edit this. I would do a new line, and then if I want to bullet point them, I'd leave a line gap, I'd do a little hyphen and a space. That's how you do bullet points in Markdown, and I would say you have found some of the syntax errors present in the code. And I might say that my target should be to I don't know, find all the syntax and runtime errors. Clearly this student hasn't done a particularly huge amount because it was me, but I'd write that, I could preview that, and that's kind of what it looks like, and it would do a little bullet pointed list. Now I'd quite like it just to be bold, so I'm going to just put a little mark in front of there. No, that hasn't worked. Oh, that's because I haven't put a space after the little. So it takes a little bit of fiddling around. Now that it was what we used earlier on. That's going to be like a H1, so that's going to give me massive headings. So to make a smaller heading, I'm just going to add a couple of extra hash symbols in there. And I've just made those slightly bold. They've got some successes, they've got some targets. I click on that to make the comment, and that's my comment made. And the only thing left to do at that stage is to go back, and I'm going to close the pull request. I'm not going to merge the pull request. If I merge it, their code will get put into my code. So all my students know that just because their pull request gets rejected does not mean there's anything wrong with their code. It just means that I've sent it back to them and given them some comments. They can then see this. Sometimes I will actually ask the students to go back and fix what they've already done and then re-comment on it, and they can re-pull it. I might say, you've done these things, I've given you this grade, this is what you need to do to get more. They can do it, they can comment, and I've got this really nice trail going on. So the idea being that eventually you can build up this portfolio of the students' code and sort of the comments that have been made, and you can see the conversation between teacher and pupil, and provide some nice evidence of progression. That's the theory, at least. Anyway, this video has been about how to get students to get their work, edit it, submit a pull request, and how the teacher can then mark the work.